Lip sync is made. It's picking it up a little bit, but not that much.
Okay. Can move further down the table if we need.
Then I might be more on the camera.
Do I have my smaller mic stand?
Do we have to... Oh, is there some reason for the end? Oh, I didn't know that you couldn't just, like...
Oh, you can.
Condense it.
But, be able to see your bald spot.
Am I turning into George Costanza?
Yeah, that's good.
I'll try to be still. Last time I was like a bobblehead. I'm very like enthusiastic in my active listening.
Yes.
The only Seinfeld episode I watched was when the reporter thought they were a couple. George and Jerry were a couple. And they're like, we're not, but there's nothing wrong with it.
There's nothing wrong with it.
There's so many cultural references.
Yes.
The man hands thing came up. I've not seen them either, but I keep meaning to watch just to get all these references. But it was like a meme or something.
Yeah.
About a date and
Yeah.
That was fun.
I like the puffy shirt.
The puppy shirt.
Yes.
Yeah. See, I'm telling you, I liked watching. Oh gosh, what was the Larry David one? The show he had, his own show. I can't think of it. It was super awkward. It's gone for several seasons. We watched quite a bit of that.
Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Yes. So I enjoyed that kind of humor, so I feel like I would like Seinfeld.
Mine is, like, in that vein is Parks and Rec.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we like Parks and Rec. We did a lot of rewatching of The Office, but now, if not, since they took it off, I think it was on Netflix.
It's on Peacock now.
I don't want to have to get another subscription or something.
I know.
Like
it's like we've gone back to cable.
Yeah.
We've gone back to cable.
I know. But worse. Because now it's like, do you want this channel? Subscribe to it.
Do you want no ads? Pay a little bit more.
And does it have to come with ESPN, really? I don't want that.
Yes. I thought this was meant that I can, like, not have to get the sports package.
Yeah.
I don't live with my dad anymore. We don't need the ESPN. Or the SEC sports package.
I just want to watch baseball. That's all I do. I don't need the
Can't
football.
you just do that online?
I can. I got MLB, but I also, because I have the Disney Plus package, I still have ESPN.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want this.
You just need to find another sport to get into. Okay, you got to get into like rugby or like polo.
I mean, I like softball, so I can watch softball on that one. But they don't have a category for it. So I have to be on it whenever they're playing.
Oh no, you can't like search it and save it and.
No.
That's weird. That is very much like old cable days.
And I can't watch Tulane baseball games either.
Really?
I have to be on it when they're playing.
Okay, you just have TV now. You just have TV.
Yeah, I just have TV. It's annoying.
To play your life around it. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Although nobody knows what it's like whenever the show goes off and goes to commercials, to hear your sister, it's coming back!
Hurry up.
All right, so we're going to be doing this for about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Cut it down. But do you have any questions before we start?
No, except that my perspective is going to be kind of medical, so I tried to not over deep dive into that, but there's no shortage here of.
Yeah.
Okay. Just lock in antidotes.
Okay.
All right.
Anecdotes or antidotes?
I want an omelet right now. So, yes, egg notes. All right. A 1, 2, and a 3. Welcome back to another episode of the MGA Library Podcast, now called Knights of the Library. We are today joined by two recurring people. Autumn Lucas from the, what was it called? Is it a health services?
The Student Health Services,
Student Health
MGA Health Clinic.
And Natalie Edwards, one of your online librarian. You're not instruction, but you kind of fold in.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I do.
But you're also the liaison to health and natural sciences as well.
Yes. Very cool.
Yeah, I didn't plan that.
You should take credit for that.
Yeah. You may see me quite often online in your online classes as the online undergraduate librarian, and then yes, I do still do instruction sessions, so you could still see me in class. But also, yes, I am part of the health and I'm the liaison, as you said, to the health and natural sciences.
Okay, so we're doing an episode topic that Autumn brought to us called about the infodemic. So it's going to be kind of macro and micro at the same time. Like you're going to talk about from the health perspective. We can talk it from like the librarian perspective and also personal perspective, because the internet is just constant flow of information, and you got to figure out what is what.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the challenge.
Yes.
So let's start with the term. When was the term infodemic created?
I actually am glad you asked this because I looked it up, and interestingly, it came from an article in 2003 that was related to the SARS outbreak. So another pandemic that was originated, and if you remember, way back in the day, before we just called it COVID, it was COV2 was what we're, in the medical world at least. And that is because this was the severe acute respiratory syndrome outbreak in China as well, but it was coronavirus 1.
Okay.
So that, and I did a direct quote from David Ropkoff, if I'm saying that correctly, who coined the term, really just by combining information epidemic, that it was chaos created by a combination of fact, rumor, interpretation, and propaganda.
That's interesting, since infodemic sounds like something that would have been created in 2020 as just like a buzzword to throw out there for all of the overwhelming information we had.
I thought it was 2020.
Well, that's when it reached huge popularity.
So it was just revamped.
Yep.
Okay. So was there a lot of misinformation on the first coronavirus? Because that's what it is. SARS 1 was coronavirus as well.
SARS was coronavirus 1. Yep, it was that one, and there was, although I think maybe from just our little bubbles we were a bit more isolated from it because it did not become a global pandemic.
Okay.
But at the time, there was a lot of changing information, and I think we saw that with COVID, not even just in the medical world where I was living and breathing and under a mask, very much so. But the science, especially with medical information, was not static. And that made people question it more, to think that, well, you just didn't know what you were talking about. But it was because it was actually something to be championed. Like, we were learning so rapidly and then making adjustments on the best information that we had, that it led to changing guidelines and recommendations in a rapid amount of time.
Okay.
And that was misinterpreted in a lot of ways as, reasons not to trust the information.
Yeah. Or like it's wishy-washy. You said this one week and next week it's something else. Well, we found out something new the next week,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Turns out, in combination, those two things we talked about work together pretty well.
Yeah.
True. And just, I didn't go too deep down the rabbit hole, but it was interesting, some perspectives from infectious disease doctors who have done this. This is absolutely their area of expertise, that it really left that field of medicine upended in ways that they'd not seen in their career of however many decades otherwise.
Yeah.
And that is scary, but that is also kind of amazing, because they learned rapidly, and we had the support and the funding there for a while, which makes all the difference. But it affected every one of us. And you mentioned the internet, and we're in a time now where everything is in our phone. So every time that we look at our phones, we're really bombarded.
And it's like, also it's so accessible. So if you think like, oh, I need to order dishwasher pods, I'm gonna get on the Walmart app and go ahead and add it to my cart. So you can immediately like, oh, when did this store open up? Let me pull up my phone and look it up. And it's like, so when you have that idea, you can immediately find an answer for it. Which back then it wasn't easy to do that. You had to get to a computer with internet and look something up.
And that might have made a difference in what you were willing to really look into and not look into, and how much you were going to dig deep. Because I think something I knew, but it reminded me just preparing for this episode, that there's a lot of algorithms, and the first thing that pops up in Google is probably just a paid spot. Like, it doesn't mean it's the most true or the most accurate or best answer. which I know you can speak a lot more
Oh,
to.
yeah. There's actually a Google bubble. So if you're logged into your Gmail, it will kind of figure out like what kind of information are you looking for. So the first results that you get are not these unbiased results like you would get from an academic search. It is Google saying, these are spots that people have paid for. These are things that we think you would be interested in. The Venn diagram of those is what you get. So if you really want good, almost unbiased results, if you log out of your Gmail or if you go into incognito mode, then you don't get the things it thinks you want to see, but you still will get paid spots since it's not by relevance. It's by relevance / what's relevant that's been paid for.
Well, that would be eye-opening. I think I'm going to do a test with that and search something similar and do it in incognito versus right there with my Gmail.
Yeah.
And I think I would be surprised, even knowing what I know, to see the differences. And it's unfortunate because we get in these echo chambers and we already have the innate bias, right? Like of what we know, what's norm to us, the social context, cultural, just a lot of different ones. And I know they all play a fact, and we look at that also from the social determinants of health, like what you have access to physically in your environment versus what you perceive with health guidelines in general, and how that plays into government or control versus assistance and all of that. But these algorithms and these things that really know what you're looking for and what they're targeting at you, that just continues to reinforce this belief, and it really might be incorrect from the start, but you're not going to see that because there's nothing challenging it.
Yeah, and you don't always have the time to do scholarly searches to see and like read these, heavy scholarly articles to get this kind of unfiltered information that you would get from a popular source like a blog or something on the news or something like that. So it's really what's, like you said, easily accessible, and that's often what you see.
And there's a comfort level there. We all want to be reinforced that we're right.
Yes.
It's hard to admit that you're wrong, or even to say like, hey, is this information true or is it just new to me? Like it, that's a maturity point. It's not easy whether you are a novice or an expert, but it is important. I think in college particularly, part of why we're all here and why we stayed as educators and staff is to continue that open mind and to learn new things and to grow as a person and figure things out. And critical thinking is like a muscle.
Yes.
So it's not that we all just can get lax with it.
You gotta use it. If you use that muscle, it's gonna get stronger. If you don't, it's gonna go away. You have to work at it again.
Yes, and we haven't even gotten to it. Sorry if I'm skipping ahead here, but we live in this influencer culture.
Yes.
And that's given everyone a platform, and it's really simplified complex topics, which in some ways are good. I mean, I follow some that are very cool, like I don't know if we can name drop, but like the Unbiased Science Pod and just things like that.
Yeah.
Those are great to help take that complex medical information and remove the jargon and say it in a way that a patient or a general member of the public can understand. But at the same time, a lot of times like TikTok, Instagram, all of them, they package them really well. You have like a charismatic, good-looking person. They may be truthfully speaking from experience, but that does not replace expertise or evidence, and it's hard to get around that.
But also they could be paid if they are influencers to kind of like advertise these ideas, these kind of products that they're using, these supplements or things to. And it really is like you said, with the bias and all of that, what's put at you. Here in college, we try to, especially in the library, try to teach students to research unbiasedly, to think about your bias, and then try to, of course, it's easy to find things that kind of answer that, and but then also see if you can find something that is kind of on the other side of it, like something that kind of covers the opposite of your bias. Like if you think that lactate is great, isn't it lactate? That little, what you take for lactose intolerance?
Oh, lactate? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, does that actually work, or is it just like a sugar pill? Which, although that's a bad example, because from what I heard, that's fantastic for people with lactose intolerance. But yeah.
Yeah, well, there's plenty of like things like that, you know, that it is important to look at what are they trying to sell me something? Are they promoting something as an ultimatum or a miracle cure? Because rarely is something that solid. There's always more than one side, right? There's you know, the more sensational, the more evidence that should be there. And if someone is telling you like this is the only way, we hear that a lot, and even from figures in, you know, positions of authority, that questioning it is wrong or anti-American or just whatever. But it's not. It's actually like Americans are all about not being in this herd mentality. But at the same time, I think that's one of the words that research I've done about reframing. Instead of like with vaccinations, don't talk about herd immunity, but like community immunity, because we're all part of this community, but we don't want to think we're part of a herd, right? But we are in a community. So just little shifts, if you can make those internally and make it part of the conversation, that's part of a way to get toward addressing misinformation or even just recognizing it, which is where it starts.
Could misinformation also be just a slip of the tongue as well? Like saying, oh, this vaccine will not let you get COVID ever again. Could that also be considered misinformation when it's just by accident? Accidental misinformation?
I think so. Misunderstanding. That could be a similar thing. Then I think it's interesting you can talk about misinformation, disinformation, and then malinformation, which is intentional. It's got a purpose. It's you know, whether it be like a bot or whatever, you know, or just a person with a
because I remember
platform.
watching 3 different doctors from the CDC, and they both, one of them said, you take the COVID-19 vaccine, it'll make the symptoms milder. And another one said, like, you'll never get it. And I was like, okay. But then after I got the vaccine, I got it for the 3rd time. I've had it 5 times.
Oh my God.
I'm going to play the lottery. But so I got I think it was the Delta virus, and then I got Omicron, but I got Omicron after I got the vaccine. Vastly different than when I had Delta before the vaccine. I'm like, okay, this first guy was right. This guy was probably just being optimistic. But you don't know until you do it.
True.
But
and I guess at the time, maybe we had, you know, working with information they had, but I think in general, that's a common conversation with vaccines of all types. Just to kind of think of them as like a shield, right? Like some things can get through or around a shield, but you're protected from the vast majority of complications or strains. And there's a current, I think you used the word mild, there's a current flu campaign. I really like it because it's visual as well, and it's short and sweet. It's get a vaccine and take the flu from wild to mild, and it has a tiger or a lion and like a kitten. So it's not that you may not get it or be sick or have a virus, but it's going to be a vastly different experience because you did your internal software update and got your vaccine and prevent, you know, because we all want to prevent viruses with our computers. I think that if you consider it with your body that way, it's not so scary.
We kind of bounced around. I don't know where we're at now.
This is conversational.
Okay, well, we can probably skip number 2. Can misinformation cause real world harm?
We've already seen that.
I would say when we were at the beginning of the COVID-19, we were told 2 weeks, shut down for 2 weeks, and we can contain it, which then turned into a whole year. I think the reason why it turned into a whole year was because there was misinformation going on about COVID-19 of like, oh, if you do this, you won't get it, so you can do whatever, you can stay normal. But it's kind of hard to shut down an entire country for 2 weeks anyways, and an entire world.
Right. When we saw the repercussions with like the supply chains and that kind of thing, and I think even still in our minds we didn't know how to prepare for that. Like I remember going to the grocery store and buying the things that I might buy for like a power outage or a hurricane. Or it's like, well, I'm gonna get extra snacks and you know, all these things, and it was but
I'm going to get some toilet paper. What?
Right. But in my mind, you know, that was where we came from in our lifetime. We had not seen that. And most of the providers had also not dealt with that. But I definitely think it did, because it led to a lot of emotional responses, which in a place of fear, like that was new and scary to everybody, but
and that can like exacerbate your mistrust of authority as well.
Right. Like instead of it feeling like, for a while it felt like we're all in this together and we're figuring this out and we want to protect our neighbors, because there is always going to be somebody who is already starting at a disadvantage with a weakened immune system. You know, cancer, transplants, small children, pregnant women. There's lots of different categories, but part of making some sacrifices on your end of I'm talking about like a social thing, not everything. It would be not only to, you know, yes, it inconveniences you, but it protects you and people around you that can't have that same level of, you know, natural protection.
Do you think there should have been an emphasis on like, it's a short amount of time,
right?
Then we can go back to normal, hopefully, if we just knuckle under.
True, and I think it exposed some things that I took for granted. Like, who didn't know washing your hands was a great idea?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't have a cold the entire time.
Yes, I still just not to the same like
degree
religiousness of washing my hands, but I still do. I go pick up my lunch, I come back, I go wash my hands, and then I eat.
Yes, doorknobs are gross. Like
I use my elbow to open the doors now.
I see if I can push it with my foot. I love those little the little things at the bottom of the bathroom doors. You see where you can pull it or push it. I love those.
Right. And you know, a fist bump is always preferred if I meet you. Like it's more than a handshake. Just there's lots of little like micro changes that mean a lot. And masking is, you know, I mean, I got very used to it because I lived in. I mean, we went from like full contact precautions during testing and things down to just masking, you know, with a typical mask. But to me, that was worth it. If I do this one thing and it prevents someone else being sick to the point of dying or prolongs this so that we can eventually get back to, you know, really a new normal. I don't know that it will ever be the same. I feel like someone referenced like the AC or BC and AC being before COVID and after COVID. Yeah. It's like two very distinct timelines, and I can see that. And we, you know, we keep talking about the kids that lost a year of school or a year of development or a year of just whatever. I think in some ways we all gained or lost something, and some people way more than others. You know, a lot of people have personal stories of losing loved ones, but even still, it seems like that is easily forgotten if you feel like someone's trying to take away your autonomy or freedom.
As a medical professional, have you had any personal experience with misinformation whenever you're like helping out at the clinic or with student health services?
Definitely. So in a lot of ways, it's an education opportunity. But I mean, it's hard to separate the two, but as a parent, I've struggled a lot with vaccination conversations and access and assumptions and things. So I think that it's really interesting for me to try to interpret things, but when I'm a parent, I take off like my nurse hat. Like I'm there to be a mom in that situation, but I also can still understand and appreciate a lot of the medical behind the scenes. But I try to share resources for the patients I treat and the people I meet that are geared toward patients, because it is hard to wade through medical jargon. And there's, you know, a saying about how you, when you're not an expert, you overestimate your knowledge on something. Yes. But the experts might underestimate, or you have to draw that fine line between being like just dismissive, you're wrong, shut it down. That doesn't really help change anybody's mind. So having that conversation about like, where did you hear that? Why did you hear that? And trying to avoid labeling people as like anti-vax or anti-science. Or anti-whatever.
What?
That
doesn't help?
Well, it's a struggle.
Calling a person stupid doesn't help?
Well,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Believe it or not, it does not advance the discussion.
If anything, it probably stops the discussion.
Yeah, it does.
It stops the discussion and then ends to a fist fight. That's what happens.
Trying to think about it as like, this person made the best decision they could with the information they had. And the information was incorrect. It was bad. It was misinformation. But they've absorbed it. And so let's find a common ground and kind of meet from there. But it is frustrating because we have a recent, issue where some funding has been stopped. A lot of medical research that could benefit all of us, regardless of, financial status, social status. It's frustrating when that happens because we always have health threats and new emerging problems. Like, why undo some good and why create more or backtrack to things that we eradicated? That is really hard to come out with an open mind.
Yeah.
I remember the vaccines coming out, and I was really hesitant because of my historical knowledge. Because I'm like, oh, I remember Tuskegee, and that's a little nerve-wracking that the government and the pharmaceutical were working together. It was amazing how quickly they came out with it. Because I was talking to my doctor. I'm like, that's a little weird that it came out quickly. I'm like, oh, it's part of the SARS, so they're able to piggyback off of previous research and do all this. I'm like, okay, so is there a danger? She's like, not inherently, but take it in the week. So if there is something, you can readily get to a hospital.
Yeah.
True.
Because my doctor talked about it.
Yeah.
And I did make a joke about ivermectin, and she was like, do you want it? I'm like, no, I was just making a joke.
Yeah, I remember those clinics. Not that, but you would go and you would sit and get these infusions and things. And I mean, nothing is risk-free, right?
No.
Like, if you really read every label, you would probably never even...
Oh, you see
a
that,
vitamin.
like, caution, this can possibly happen. And it's like, that probably happened once or twice in a trial. And so you have to put it in there, but then you read it and you're like, do I want this if I eat this low-fat chip?
Yeah.
Like, do I want this reaction that someone had?
Some oleo.
Yes.
No, it's like a constant, I think life is a constant, like, risk-benefit analysis.
Yeah.
And we do that subconsciously or not. But I think just being aware, being smart about it, looking at the greater good and trying to think about the long-term benefit versus like the here and the now.
Yeah.
And that's true with anything, with like, shortcuts to weight loss or health treatments. There is a place for alternatives. There's always a discussion for complementary therapy. But even still, I think just being able to hear that and to be able to critically weigh your options.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Tuskegee. It's really important to give that fair weight that is something that should have never happened. And that is something that people are very right, especially certain groups that were experiencing it to question. And I think it's still the medical professional's job to safeguard from anything like that again.
And what makes that even more concerning is because that was piggybacking off of a Swedish study that happened years before with 1,000 people. If I remember correctly, Tuskegee was about 500 people who either had it or some of them got infected, and others were a control group.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was
Right.
It was terrifying.
So, I don't want to ignore that. It is scary. And
the joys of having a history degree.
Right. But I think sometimes that history degree is helpful because we can reference things that have happened.
Yes.
And they've talked about like if you go to like historic cemeteries, you see so many more tiny graves, and it's really sad because children do still die from preventable and not preventable causes. But you saw so much of that before with the things that we now vaccinate against.
Yeah.
Measles and the polio for complications, tetanus. All of these things are absolutely wretched diseases.
I think a great treatment for the infodemic is information literacy, which is something that we teach here in the library. Is you read this article and it has a quote, and perhaps the quote is wrong because they got the quote from somewhere else, you got the quote from somewhere else. So it's really taking these things that you're reading and just confirming it in some way. See if you can find the same information somewhere else in another trusted source before you just take it at face value. Because I like to use this anecdote of when I worked at the public library. I had a gentleman call and ask if cherry juice was good for arthritis. So I did a search of that, and I said, I see one article about cherry juice and arthritis. And so I gave him the summary of the article, and I was like, but this study was funded by Ocean Spray, and I don't see anything else that talks about it. And so he was like, that was all the information he needed, was that he saw it somewhere. But really, you want to find it in more than one place, and you want to find it in more than one place that aren't necessarily connected, to see, like, was there another study done on it that was not funded by Ocean Spray?
Right.
Yeah.
Piggybacking off of information, like I said, media literacy. I don't know why I put that there.
Because there's so many literacies. There's digital literacy. There's
Yeah.
media
Totally
literacy.
fine,
yeah.
There's
But,
information
Think about
literacy.
When you're searching it on Google, are there specific websites that you should go to? Should you avoid .com? Should you go to .edu? Should you go to .orgs more often than not?
So .edu, that's going to be an educational site. They're usually trusted. It's always good just to kind of like do your background information. Is this a real college? Is this is this a fake institution? .mil is military. That's normally, it's always trusted since it's government. Same with .gov. That's a government website. It's trusted. .com is going to be a commercial site, and so you can find a lot of really helpful information on there. But again, you just want to see if you can verify it somewhere else. And then the .orgs are actually organizations. So similarly to .coms, you can get some great information. You just want to do your background research on what the organization is, a good place to find out that is to go to the About page on the website and see, like, are they being funded by a big pharmaceutical company? Are they unbiased? Do they have what's
political
their mission?
think tank?
Yes, yes. And then .net is similar to the others, where it's like, I honestly really wouldn't trust a .net. Most of the good information you're going to find are going to be in the other ones. You just really want to verify it.
True, and I think medically, I think of a few that I recommend, like when you're looking for specific information on medications, diseases, health information, think about going right to the source, like the American Diabetes Association. They have really great fact sheets and information. They want to help you control your diabetes. They are not trying to sell a particular medication, food, supplement. And then the American Academy of Pediatrics has some really interesting things. They call it fact-checked.
Yeah.
So I think it's really great sometimes to let the expert help you fact-check something, because it can be so difficult. And then there's like Mayo Clinic and Cleveland Clinic are great ones that I like to use for resources. Cleveland Clinic has quite a lot.
I've never heard of Cleveland Clinic.
And then from like when I am looking at information, I look at, like you mentioned, kind of the conflict of interest and the disclosures. Typically for like an actual scientific article, those are pretty short. There should not be that many. And then beware of the branding. I think that scientific articles are not typically flashy branded.
They're not.
But when you have, and I don't really want to specifically things that are coming to mind are kind of hot button names and things, but when someone brands it in a way that makes you think this is the only way to be healthy, or we are doing this to make you healthy, or like nothing about this was healthy before, but now it is if you do it this way. Be cautious about those kind of statements, not just when it comes to your health, but really anything.
Yeah.
It sounds kind of like a quick sell, like this is the only way, then you might really look into that.
Yeah.
Source more closely and see if it's relevant. Like, I was reminded from my own college days, the CRAP test. Do you want to share that? That's a fun acronym.
The CRAP test. What does the
I did
CRAP test
this.
stand for
Look.
again? It's not oh, you got it. Okay, good.
If that's true?
Yes.
I thought
because-
you would be a better person, but I remember from
I don't
school.
use the CRAP test a lot. I actually like to use the 5 W's, but the CRAP
I'll tell
test
me
is
that one too.
wonderful because it's currency. How current is it? Is it up to date? Which you want something up to date with any kind of medical information. If you're doing research on it, normally it's 5 to 7 years, but if it's something that is like constantly evolving, you may want something sooner, especially like if you're looking up like the most recent vaccine or the most recent kind of guidelines for something. You want it as soon as you can get it. Relevance, like how relevant is it to what you're trying to research? Is it actually answering any of the questions that you have? And the authority of the author. Do they know what they're talking about? And when you're looking at like the American Association of Pediatricians, they will tell you on there who wrote this article, and it'll tell you like any kind of degrees or background that they have. If you're reading an article and they don't have an author listed, or they do but the author doesn't have a background in what they're talking about, just trash it, close that tab. You don't want that information, because it's just going to be, it's not going to give you any kind of depth of information that you need. And if anything, there could be some misinformation on it. So you really want to look for authors who are experts in the subject and accurate. This is where I was talking about seeing if you can find the same information in another source. So like if you're reading a news article, they give a quote from the suspect. See if you can find that same quote. See if you can find where that quote came from, to see, did they warp it from something else to fit their narrative, or was it really, did it have some other sort of background that isn't being caught? And the purpose of the article too, like you said, is it selling you something? Is it is it entertaining you? If so, that's a popular source. That is an ad. Close that tab. You don't want it. If the purpose of the article is to inform you on the topic, if it's giving you the straight facts in a way that's easy to understand, get it. You got it.
Dysentery, great weight loss.
Yes.
By Zachary D. Brigman.
What was it? Tapeworms. Great way to use a few pounds.
Yeah, right.
Don't think about the ending of it when you have to get rid of it.
Oh, man.
I think that, and I'm still interested in the 5 Ws. I love little acronyms and reminders, but I think context is important, because we all know we can be a little snippet of something you say can be taken out of context.
Yes.
So looking at the bigger picture and realizing that things can be debunked. Like, unfortunately, there are some people that are bad actors, with maybe some credentials, and they are parading as the expert. But then, there's a very well-known study about, links between certain vaccines and with autism. Then, in this case, that particular study was debunked multiple times, and that person was stripped of medical licensing.
Wasn't that early 90s?
Yes, yes. But the stories continue to circulate without the ending, without including that this was debunked and this person no longer is licensed to practice.
Without the context.
Right. So, and it's hard work. Not everything can be simplified, but it's worth delving deeper, particularly when you're making a decision about your life, your health, your child, your loved ones, your education, whatever it may be.
It can be kind of overwhelming to when you are when you're trying to find the right answer to something, and you're just bombarded with all of this information. For instance, like right now, my child is starting solids, so I'm thinking about, how do I introduce allergens, and looking up all this information. And I asked my sister, whose daughter was born over 10 years ago. She's in high school now. How did you do that? And then she was like, I didn't introduce her to allergens. We just got lucky and she didn't have any allergies. And I was like, oh, so this answer isn't helpful at all to me.
Right.
So I actually contacted our pediatrician about it and got some advice. But what would you suggest for students, anyone really, who is just overwhelmed with this information?
Definitely to seek medical advice. I mean, you see that at the bottom of every possible label. You see the happy commercials about this medicine might be right for you, and then they've got the little subtext they're dancing, playing guitar, and but it might kill you. So again, there's a reason for every little disclaimer, but it doesn't mean that this is absolutely not safe to take and you never should. It's important though to remember that everyone's situation is different, and what might be really right for someone else's child or treatment may not be right for you. So getting that medical opinion and feeling that you have the option to weigh, you're not being strong-armed into doing something right then, unless it's an emergency. Please do go right then. But to be given the information to make the best decision, rather than, a resource shouldn't tell you just what to do.
Yes.
Right? To just take this product and don't think of anything else. So I think, again, looking at those sources, trying to figure out which one has no ulterior motive. They really just want me to be healthy or be safe or do this, proven record. There's a lot of people that write books And that doesn't mean that that book is a textbook,
Yes.
right? That is on the shelf, and that is a resource, but being mindful. And it is overwhelming. So again, I think seeking assistance from a librarian is an amazing option. I think that's great that someone called and asked about cherry juice. We used to get random calls at urgent care about just, they just found us in the phone book or something, like just to ask us something. You got to be really careful what kind of medical advice you give on the phone. But still, assisting that person to know where to look next and to help narrow it down. I think that's the first step.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, and if the person that you contact doesn't have the answer, maybe they can kind of point you in the right direction. Like, I can't answer this, but here is a resource that may be able to answer this for you.
exactly, yeah. So knowing those tools and kind of how to use them. And I think it should feel, hopefully you can move toward empowerment from overwhelm
Yes.
as you get better. And I mean, I'm still doing this all the time. Like, it doesn't stop because you are a nurse practitioner or you've got a master's or a doctorate.
Yes.
And hopefully that is clear. But to just continue and to stay up to date and to challenge yourself with what was factually proven or what was a standard. And maybe it changed for the for the better. That's a good thing. That doesn't mean that everything you knew was a lie. So
Look for tests that have multiple tests to it, not just like, oh, it worked one time, so it's fine.
Yes. Yes.
yeah, like the study size is important.
The study size, has it been replicated? Did someone have the same results the second time that they did the study?
And it's been known for a long time that there's populations that are underrepresented in studies.
Yes.
Females,
Yes.
just
People of color.
right, different makeups. And then you also have to think that in certain groups, that the people who really were going to follow that study and actually do the the follow-up checks 5, 10, 6 weeks, however many, they were invested in their health.
Yes.
And they, it's really hard to get a true population count for some things that are more difficult to see through. So we do the best we can with the information we have, but be able to weed out some red flags and make decisions without someone, in your face constantly trying to sell your product or say that this way is the only way. So that's hard.
Red flag has actually been added to the dictionary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Wasn't that one of the words, that and delulu and skippity?
Really? Oh no, I have a child that knows about that. But yeah, I think
English language is going away.
The English language is evolving.
it's expanding. We could say that. But right, I think I talk a lot about like support networks. For mental health, for physical health, for safety, whatever it may be. It is important to build your network, but also I think it's important to include people that are not just as like-minded. Like, you really learn a lot by embracing some other perspectives and sometimes just being exposed to something that you haven't been. So I think that we can look at this from kind of like a lived perspective, not just health literacy. It's about learning how to move through the world, right?
So another treatment for it would be to go out of your comfort zone, learn new conversations. So effectively get out of your echo chamber.
Exactly, to try to realize that you're in an echo chamber and to escape that, I think is very important. And it may not change your belief, but at least realize that, not everyone thinks the same way and that's not the only way to think.
All right, well, that was pretty good.
Oh, did you want me to tell you the 5 W's?
Yeah, I do want to know the
So
5
I like
Ws.
those because they're way easier to remember to me than the crap.
It's just a funny word.
It is a very funny word. It's very like oh crap. But so the 5 W's: who, what, where, when, why. Who wrote it? Are they do they have the authority to talk about it? What's it about? Does it cover in the information that you want answers to? When was it published? How relevant is it? Where was it published? Which is a little bit different than this. So is it from a trusted source? Is it something published by the Cleveland Clinic, or is it something published on a blog? Yeah. Or was it Amazon self-published? Because there's no one kind of looking over those to kind of mark it up and edit it and see this is right, this is wrong. It's just kind of information that people can just put out there, which can kind of overwhelm you. Who, what, when, why. So why is it important? Does, what is the purpose of it? Is it popular or is it educational? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I like the 5
that is
W's.
easier to remember, for
yes.
sure. Yes.
So I should unsubscribe from Gossip Girl MD.
Yes, you should. Although I am curious as to what some of those posts are about.
Google.
All right, so we are now at the final little bit where the guest can ask me a question, or it can be an open question. So what you get?
I was going to say, take a freebie or tell us a joke.
Tell us a
A
joke.
freebie? My jokes are not clean.
They're not PG-13?
No.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'll have to believe it all.
Okay. A story.
Sure, I'll take a story.
Okay. But for some reason, my family has a storied history for some reason. But here's a story about Tuggin Fussell. He was my great-great-grandfather. His name was really William Bradford Fussell, but they called him Tuggin. We don't know why. Well, he was involved in the timber wars in Dodge County. So a bunch of Northerners were coming down, buying up timberland. And he was working with a guy named, I kid you not, William Williamson. And he was captured. And so him and other guys went to go break him out. There was a night watchman, and the night watchman got shot. And so the sheriff of Dodge County was like, we need to figure out who shot the night watchman and broke this guy out. Apparently, Tuggin had a habit of shooting people. So immediately, the sheriff went to his house, and I didn't know you could do this, but they went to his house and said, you need to come out. And he said, no, and he shut the door. So they actually had to call the marshal, the U.S. Marshal from Macon, to come take him out.
Wow.
And there was a trial, and the key witness was another cousin of his. And so he said, I'm going to shoot this cousin. So he rode into town with the rifle, and he sees the cousin walking out with the mayor and the deputy mayor. He gets off the horse, he readies his gun, and he fires a shot. It hits the deputy mayor, who is also another cousin.
Oh my goodness.
And shot him in the eye. He lived,
Wow.
but the cousin who was the snitch pulled his gun and killed Tuggin Fussell in the middle of the street. And that was the end of Tuggin Fussell.
Wow. That is dramatic.
I have a similar story from some family members who are, way in the past in the same kind of area of Georgia from Telfair County. I think it was Telfair County. My great-grandfather was the sheriff for a while, and he was out fishing with my great-uncles, and then he got a call that another policeman had to go to this man's house and speak to him about an incident. He similarly just shut himself up in the house and was not going to come out until the sheriff came. So then he had to leave fishing and go up there. And then I forget the altercation, but essentially my great grandfather gets shot by the man in question that shut himself in the house, and he did not pass, but he was paralyzed.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
If you live in the South for a very
Are you
long
guys
time,
cousins?
you
No,
get
just
these.
Could be.
You could be related.
Apparently, there are two Fussell families in Dodge County. I'm related to both of them, both sides of my
Oh my
family.
goodness.
Because my grandmother, my mother's mother, her family's actually from South Georgia. So she moved around, and that's why she wound up in New Orleans, where my grandfather is from.
Okay.
She's the only side of my family that's actually from Georgia.
Okay.
Who originate. They were deaditers when the colony came up, because the Brigmans were from Virginia. The Woodwards, my mother's family, they came after the Civil War, and they actually were a bunch of carpetbaggers. They landed in Massachusetts, and This is the last story. It's so weird. They land in Massachusetts. They go west to Missouri, and then they go like, you know what, Missouri ain't cool. So they go to Louisiana. And the Missouri people, they have some stories. Another guy got shot. And his brother, who was the sheriff of the county over, got him out. And he had warrants for the shooting. And this cousin, the brother, he didn't carry a gun. He told you to wait on the steps of the sheriff's office. He just go wait on the steps. I'll arrest you later. So it's so weird. Oh, do you have any funny stories where people got shot?
There's some family feuding, but I think it ended with changing the spelling of a last name versus
Do you have
any kind of gun control.
Do you have any funny stories involving misinformation?
Yeah.
Oh wow, let me think. I should have prepared for this one. God, nurses have no shortage of stories.
Oh, yes. I'm married to a nurse. I love the stories. I love the nameless stories.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Always
yes.
nameless. No, I can't share any of those that I'm thinking of right now. I'll come back to you guys. But they're truly, I mean, in some ways misinformation can be comical. And in some ways it can be really, really detrimental. So that can be my follow-up episode.
Okay. Well, this has been misinformation and family histories that are weird. Welcome. Thank you for coming back. Welcome back. Whatever. But welcome back. But this has been episode 13. The title will be Truth, Half-Truth, or Plain Old Lie.
Love it.
Mm-hmm. I put in ChatGPT what it is, and it just spat out like non-creative stuff, and I was like, "Oh, this is no."
See, the human brain is still better.
Yes.
All right. Thank you for coming.
Thanks.
I hope I never see you again, but no.
Well, you're gonna have to avert your eyes every time you go to the bathroom, since my office is right next to yours.
What a choice place.
Yeah.
That is a good office, though. That's a pretty good office. All right. Well, how do I end this? Oh, I suck at this. Bye.